podcast. We will be discussing some numbers on the mobile side for AAA games. And those numbers that have been reported are quite shocking, but we will definitely discuss. Nintendo is coming up with a plan to stop people from having to go to scalpers to buy a Switch 2, which is always a great thing because the last thing that you want is a situation like the PlayStation 5. We find out what PlayStation-owned studio House Marque are up to, and what it seems like they're up to, it definitely sounds like something that could be very, very interesting. We also find out officially how hard the difficulty will be on Black Myth Wukong, and we get more news about Death Stranding 2. But all of these stories can be found here and more in episode 215 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and welcome to the show. Welcome, 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 welcome. Come on in, relax, kick your shoes off, and get comfy, because we are going to be here for a while. Man, I'm going to tell y'all, the last time I recorded anything on the podcast was the Nintendo Direct show. And after that, I've been MIA. Now, I want to let you guys know that I haven't been missing because you know how some people, they come back and, oh, I apologize, guys. Life just got so hectic. I got so busy and I just couldn't do anything. Oh, man, I ended up in the hospital, broke my leg, all of this extra stuff. I ain't going to tell y'all none of that. The main reason why I've been missing the show and haven't recorded any episodes, because I want to be 100% honest, is because I've been out partying. I've been having a blast. I've been with the family. I've been with friends. I've been hanging. I've been to multiple events that have happened over the last several weeks, and things have just been fantastic. In a nutshell, I have been enjoying my summer to the fullest so far. And because I have been having such a good time, some of those events, it stopped me from recording. I was like, well, I'm not going to be recording today. I got to recuperate. So yeah, I have just been out having a blast, having fun, and just been enjoying life. So after a while, it got to a point where I was like, golly, you know, I've been missing for a little while now. I think it's time to get back, because I'm going to tell y'all, man, you missed a couple of episodes, at least for me, because I am very undisciplined. I don't have any discipline. I have I ain't got a lot of discipline. I ain't going to sit up here and act like, oh, man, I got it all. Nope, not at all. Man, I was gaming. I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima 2. Ghost of Tsushima, enjoying myself. Been hanging out. Shout out to Javante Davis for bringing a win to the city. Shout out to him. Heck of a knockout with Frank Martin. I was watching that. That was one event that I was at, you know, just having a blast. So that's really what's been going on with me. But because of that, and because I have truly missed doing the show, we're going to be here for a while. So just strap in. I don't know how long it's going to be. Usually, you know, I try to get us out of here within an hour. That never works, by the way, but I try to. I do my best to maybe make it no more than an hour and 20 minutes. I am almost 1,000% sure we're probably, and you guys will know this after it's up, how long it actually went, but I'm guessing we're probably going to be here for about 2 hours. That's what I'm thinking, because anytime I miss an extended period of time, not doing the podcast, I try to make up for it with the different stories. So I was able to find quite a few news stories, as well as some older ones that you guys will have probably already heard by this point. So I try to make up for it on the back end. So what it's going to be is You guys that have been rocking with me for quite some time, a couple of years now, y'all know that I'll start with the old stuff. And eventually, as the show, gradually goes on, I'll get into the more up-to-date stuff. So that's how it's going to work. But I'm just hoping y'all will kick back and enjoy yourself like I have been, over the last couple of weeks. But, yeah, before we officially get into the show, though, if you do want to be a part of the listener feedback episode, and I got to do this, shout out to Cody Clark. I haven't forgot you, my brother, in your email. Shout out to you. I'm going to get to him, my brother. I'm going to get to him. Oh, man. But if you do want to be a part of the next episode, you can do it two different ways. You can either call in at 443-380-0281 and let your voice be heard, or you can email the show, and the email address is simply theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. Also, I want to give a shout out as well to the good brother, Lawrence Jones. Shout out to you. He runs the Analog Circle Facebook group. Oh, man, shout out to you, brother. And he has not missed a beat. So I would definitely recommend you guys join that group, because the times that I wasn't recording or I wasn't able to, I was notifying. I was putting a little notice in there. Unfortunately, tonight, the podcast will not be recorded. So if it's any time I'm not going to record, I try to make it a point to put it in there. Not saying I do it every single time, because I have slipped up many times and not said anything about me not recording that night, or an episode coming out the next day. But for the most part, I make sure that if I am going to miss an episode that week and not record, I'll put it in the Facebook group. But we welcome you to come on over there and join, and come on over there and talk to us, talk gaming. It's always some brand new gaming stories in there that Lawrence Jones picks up, or Jeff over there as well, Texas. He's in there as well. So yeah, it's definitely a slew of guys in there that they always are posting things, and we always have good conversations. So if you guys definitely want to be a part of that, or are even curious about what the Facebook group is, I would just recommend just stop on by, see if it tickles your fancy. And if it does, then, stay for a while, stick around, and we'd be more than happy to have you. But without further ado, though, guys, I do believe it is time to go ahead and get into what we all come here for, and that is the gaming news. Yes, sir. That went down. By the way, some of the gaming news that did happen was interesting. I believe Assassin's Creed, the new one that's coming out, had 30,000 signatures of canceling the game or something like that. They wanted them to cancel it. I'm like, what the world is going on? Matter of fact, I think Lawrence Jones had that story in the group. Let me see if I can find it, because right now I'm just freestyling. I just want to spend some time with y'all. I know this is going to be a long-winded episode. I'm already putting it out there. We're going to be here for a while now. I'm not going to be doing it purposely, but I'm not going to rush through like I usually do. I try to make things, as fast as possible. But I just want to kick it with y'all, man. It's been a couple of weeks and a lot has happened. Oh, shucks. Well, yeah, shout out to Lawrence Jones. Yeah, he was the one that I saw the story from. He said, this ish is crazy. It says, petition for Ubisoft to cancel Assassin's Creed Shadows hits 50,000 signatures. 50,000! God, dog. Oh, yeah, shout out to Jeff Texas. Yeah, Taylor. Jeff Texas Taylor. Shout out to that brother, too, man. Golly. He's been in the group for quite some time, too. Oh, man. But, yeah, this is wild. 50,000 signatures. And I would have never thought that it was that big of a problem, especially since this isn't a far-fetched idea. This actually did happen. It was a person of color that really was. Anyway, I don't know. It's just kind of, it's not shocking. I will say that. None of it is shocking at all. But yeah, maybe to a certain degree, because how many Assassin's Creed games, or any game, for the most part, how historically accurate are they? To be honest, shucks, Assassin's Creed hasn't been that historically accurate. So I don't know what I know what the big deal is. I know why they're upset. We all do. I don't think we need to. Nah, it's because the character is a character of color. That's what it is. I don't think people think it's anything else outside of that. Now, I would like to believe as a society that we have come a lot further than that. I think we would all like to believe that is the case, but it just doesn't seem like that is the situation at hand right now. But we'll see what happens. Me, myself, I've always felt like if you don't like something, if you have a problem with it, then just don't support it. Because at the end of the day, that's what hurts these corporations the most. This petition and all of this stuff that's going on right now, 50,000 signatures, I can pretty much almost guarantee that Ubisoft is looking at that and saying, shucks, yeah, okay. All right, whatever. Shoot, we done spent all this money on this production and this voice acting and composers and all of that stuff, man. Y'all crazy. Y'all can say and do what y'all want. This game is still coming out because we got to recoup the money that we put into it. So yeah, y'all go on and do that. That's fine. And if the game messes around and makes more than what they expected for it to make, or even, because a break even is never a win. It's never a win. The goal is to make profit. So if they are able to make profit on this game, they're going to say, see, that petition ain't mean nothing. Who cares? We made the money. So yeah, I don't think they're going to cancel it. Again, it only hurts them if you don't buy the product. And we know that a lot of people out here, man, we live in this society where people just love attention. Attention is like crack out here. People do anything for attention. I've seen people take a chance of literally getting blicked up in the street just by doing these pranks with these PlayStation 5s, walking through a rough part of the city, a neighborhood that they don't have they just have no business in. They have a PlayStation 5. They got a PlayStation 5 box, walking down the street in a neighborhood that is impoverished. I mean, poor neighborhood. And they get approached by a guy, man, what you got there? PS5? Whoa, slow up. Give it up. Click. The gun comes out and all of that stuff. And they're doing this for attention. And then they have the nerve to say, it's a prank, it's a prank, it's a prank. Like them saying it's a prank just erases everything. That's always been something that I just could never wrap my head around. And maybe it's because I'm not from that generation. You couldn't play certain pranks in my generation. Like I'm 45. So people weren't playing those kind of pranks, where you knew that you were putting yourself in danger purposely just to get a reaction. That was off limits. We weren't doing that. So for me, it's a foreign concept. Whenever you get a gun pulled on you, man, anything can happen. Anything can happen once that gun is out, even if the person doesn't mean to shoot you. You know how many people have accidentally been shot all because the person pulled it out and mistakenly hit the trigger and shot somebody. So you're willing to risk your life for, for this, for attention. So I think that it's the same thing with this petition. I think that some people are just signing it because they just want to be in with the in crowd, get the attention, be surrounded with people that may be like-minded, or just some people that just want to fit in. Yeah. I want to sign it too. I don't even know what they're signing it for. They just see that everybody else is signing it. Let me sign it. Yeah, that sounds good. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see what happens with this Ubisoft situation. I'm definitely picking it up. That's 100% buy for me. Ubisoft, don't take it off the shelf. You at least got one buyer here. I'll be buying 2 of your games this year. Matter of fact, next month, when Star Wars Outlaws comes out, shout out to that game. I will be buying that for sure. 100%. And then after that comes out, this new Assassin's Creed. I will be picking it up. So we'll see what happens with this a little later on down the line. But with that being said, though, guys, 50,000 signatures. That is just funny because it's so easy to just sign a petition. So easy. It doesn't mean anything. I think the game is still going to sell pretty well, if you ask me, but only time will tell. So with that, though, let's go ahead and let's officially get into the episode. So let's get things started with the story that I actually got from Insider Gaming. So earlier this week, and I was just talking about Ubisoft, but earlier this week, Ubisoft announced and released, well, this wasn't this week, this was a couple of weeks ago, but they had released Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition. But taking a trip back in time to 2016, where Beyond Good and Evil 2 was first announced. But since then, there's been no update on the game's progress. But recently, taking to Twitter or X, the studio did come out to say, quote, yes, Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still in development, and we cannot wait for you to discover more about Jade's past in the 20th Anniversary Edition. End of quote. Hold on for 1 second. Oh, excuse me. Had to clear my throat for a second. But reading this story, now this is interesting because Beyond Good and Evil 2, since 2016, here it is 2024. So you're talking about roughly about 8 years ago. This game was shown off and we haven't seen anything since. In my mind, up until recently, I would have thought that them saying that this game was still in development and, is still coming out, I would have said, nah, I don't know about that. But then I think about the game Skull and Bones, how long that was in production. Matter of fact, let's take a look and let's see how long that game was actually in production. Let's see. How long was Skull and Bones in production?
11 years. According to Forbes, Ubisoft's fabled...
Hold on. I want to make it so y'all can hear it. All right, let's do it again. How long was Skull and Bones in development?
11 years. According to PC Games N, Ubisoft's Skull and Bones has been in the works for 11 years, reportedly starting life as an expansion for the beloved Assassin's Creed, Black Flag before shifting into an MMO, then gradually turning into the multiplayer action game we see today. It's fair to say such a protracted development is seldom a good sign.
That's the thing. Yeah, usually it's not a good sign, but overall I hear that Skull and Bones, it does have, I mean, it's maybe missing a couple of things, but it seems like overall it's a pretty decent game. Hold on. Well, I don't know. Let's see. What's the Metacritic score for Skull and Bones?
According to Game Rant, on Metacritic, Skull and Bones has a user score of 3.1 out of 10.
Oh, shucks. All right. God darn. Never mind. I'm going to shut my mouth because they just said it has a Metacritic score of 3.1. God dang. means that doggone, if we're talking about a track record, Beyond Good and Evil 2 is in severe danger of being a horribly received game. Golly. So 11 years for Skull and Bones, 8 so far, and counting for Beyond Good and Evil 2. Man, I tell you, I thought that score was a little better than that 3.1. Well, oh shucks. This definitely changed what I was going to say. I was going to be on a very positive note. Like, see, guys, it can happen. You know, it can turn out great. But then again, we do have an example where the game did turn out great. I mean, it wasn't from Ubisoft. And that is very important in this situation because it is going to happen underneath their umbrella. But talking about the just the development heck that some of these games go through. What was the game? Was it Dead? It wasn't Dead Island 2. I forgot which game it was. It was shown off a lot of E3s ago, and it got canceled, started being worked on again, got canceled again. They picked back up production on it, and it actually came out to be a really, really good game. I think it was Dead Island 2. Was it Dead? Let me see. When did Dead Island 2 release? Yeah. It was April 21st, 2023. So yeah, I believe that's the game that came out after years and years and years of development. And what did that game get? Let's see. What Metacritic score did Dead Island 2 receive?
According to As USA, Diario As, with 50 reviews total, Dead Island 2 boasts a decent 75 average score on Metacritic, where all the reviews point to the same thing.
So that ain't bad. 75. Now, I know we live in a day where everybody wants everything to be a 90 plus in order to be considered a good game, but a 75 is that's more than a decent score. That's a good, solid score. So even though they may have dropped the ball with Skull and Bones coming in at a 3.1 after an 11-year dev cycle, we have, matter of fact, let's see how long Dead Island 2's dev cycle was. How long was Dead Island 2's development cycle? It said the development cycle for Dead Island 2, a zombie-themed action role-playing game, was about 10 years long. So pretty much almost the same amount of time as Skull and Bones. And it actually came out to be a pretty decent, well-received game. So I'm saying all of that to say that possibly, it could be the same thing with Beyond Good and Evil 2, that after so many years, I mean, who knows, this game might be in development another 2 or 3 years, putting it at that 10 to 11 year mark is possible because they don't have a date when they're actually coming out with the game yet. So it could go a lot of different ways with the timing of when it comes out. But just trying to keep it on a positive note, if Dead Island 2 could come out after about 10 years of a development cycle and come out to be really decent and well received, then also Beyond Good and Evil 2 could do the same thing. Of course, only time will tell, but I mean, I still do believe that it is a good thing that the game is still in the works. And as a matter of fact, what made it seem like it was even more of a believable situation is they said that they had added something inside of the 20th anniversary of Beyond Good and Evil that kind of references back to Beyond Good and Evil 2. And if you weren't aware, Beyond Good and Evil 2 is supposed to be a prequel. So this is before Jade is born or anything like that. I believe, and this is not a spoiler, but they said that they did something with Jade's mother that for people that have actually played the game, you would get the reference. I don't get the reference because I never played Beyond Good and Evil 2. Well, I owned it. I had it, and I just couldn't get into it. I tried it for a little while. It does make me want to go back to see if I could do something with it, because I believe this game is not very expensive to buy. I don't think it's fully a full price game. How much is Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition? Let's see. I'm gonna go shopping and see how much it costs. Yeah, it's $20. Yeah, I didn't think it was a fully price game. So yeah, $20. I'll definitely pick it up for that much. God dog, that's a darn good deal. That is a very, very fair price for a 20-year-old game to get a couple of bells and whistles added to it. So yeah, $20. Go out there and check it out, and to see if my opinion on it possibly changes. But we'll see what happens, man. But anyway, golly, we are usually at this point in time, I would have been halfway through the show almost. But like I said, I want to just kick it with y'all for a little bit and just roll slow for a little while, man, But we're going to get into the next story, and this is actually a quick story because I got this from IGN. Again, it's going to be some older news, but we're going to get to the newer stuff. But Stellar Blade, congratulations to those guys for selling 1 million copies. Hold on, wait. Nah. Wait a darn minute. 1 million copies. 1 million copies? Hold up. Man, how the world have I been sitting on this for this long and I'm kind of shocked? Man, wait a minute. 1 million copies. Man, 1 million copies? God, dog. This is a travesty. I'm all hype. Oh, man, congratulations. Nah, this ain't nothing to be celebrated. 1 million copies? Dang, how many of y'all PlayStation 5 mother lovers is on? How many of us are out here? Darn. How many PlayStation 5s have sold?
According to Hypebeast, the PlayStation 5 has sold in 59.2 million units as of March 31, 2024. This is slightly behind the PS4 in the same time frame. They do not expect the PS5 to surpass the PS4 in the next year.
Darn, is that right? Man, darn all that. 59 million of us are out here. And you could only break 1 million? I got to include myself in that. Could only do 1 million copies. 1% of the user base bought the. God dang!
Move this man!
Wow! 1 million copies. Man, shift up. Wow, I had real big aspirations for you guys. And it ain't their fault. It's a good game. It's a darn good game. 1 million copies, though. Wow. That is a shame. That is, God darn. That is horrible. I mean, that is deplorable. 1 million copies, and it's 59.2 million PlayStation 5s out there. Man, oh man. I don't want to hear the excuse that it's a new IP and all of that stuff. Man, darn all those excuses. It's a good game. And it couldn't sell more than that. Gee whiz. That's tough, man. As a PlayStation, not only just a PlayStation fan, but an owner, we usually pride ourselves on these kind of things. We go out, man, we buy our games. We go out there, we support the devs. Man, darn Game Pass and all of that. We buy our games. We'll pay the $70. We'll pay $150 for a game if that's what it costs. Now, when I saw that on social media, I said, you have lost your darn mind. You are crazy. Ain't no darn way I'm paying $150 for no darn game. I'm not doing that. That's just, you just talking ridiculous right now. But yeah, I don't mind paying the $70 for a game. Yeah, you got me with that. But it's not looking like, man, it ain't looking like Jokers is living their raps right now. I got to be honest with you. It don't look like these Jokers is living out their verses right now. When it comes to, this game actually just selling 1 million copies. And this is something that has always just, man, it has always confused me. I've always been, man, how can I say it? Just at a loss for words as to why don't games sell more that actually deserve to sell more? But yet you look over at Nintendo and you're like, what kind of crack are they putting in their games over there to sell 12 and 15 and 25 million? 40, well, I ain't going to say 40, man. That's a little too much. But doing like 10 and 15 million like it's nothing. Nothing. I'm like, God, dog. Now, some could say that Nintendo has an advantage because most of their games, well, not their games, but most of the time when people buy their console, they're going to their console for their games, and Nintendo doesn't usually have current generation games on their console. So when you get a Nintendo whatever, you know that the draw is their games. But I'm saying to myself, but the draw for me getting PlayStation are their games. The draw for me getting an Xbox would be their games. So what secret does Nintendo have? I need to know what kind of thing is it that Nintendo has? Because you can't say it's because they got the kids. I can't wrap my head around that one. Because as adults, we're the ones that have the money to pay to have the kids get these games on the Nintendo. They're not paying for it themselves. So I'm saying to myself, it's just as many adults that are playing on PlayStation. I mean, well, maybe not technically, because the Switch is at 100 and something million. We just saw or heard that PlayStation is at 59.2. But I'm just saying that the money is there in each of the ecosystems. The money is there. So I'm just trying to figure out, with PlayStation having some of these amazing games, Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, even Infamous, even though we haven't seen it for a while. But Gran Turismo, just all of these great games, Uncharted, I would just think that, and they do well. PlayStation's games do well, but for some reason, Nintendo, their numbers just be on crack cocaine when you see their numbers. I mean, Mario Kart 8, is it? God darn. It's like, why the world can't Gran Turismo do those kind of numbers? Why can't Forza do those kind of numbers? I just would love to know what this formula is that Nintendo has that is so amazingly great when it comes to their game selling versus PlayStation and Xbox. I ain't gonna say I've been wrecking my brain, but I've just been in confusion when it comes to trying to figure out how are they able to do this. And their games never go on sale. They do this with their games hardly ever. Going on sale, they're making these kind of numbers. What the world? Can somebody tell me something? Because this is wild. It's absolutely wild. A game like Stellar Blade comes out and it just does 1 million. Oh my gosh. It's crazy to me. I just don't understand. I just don't. Man. But God dog it. Well, we'll see what happens with this. Look, listen, developer Shift Up. I don't think Sony's gonna because the thing is, and I know Shift Up is not first party. I know they're not. They went into a partnership with PlayStation. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they own the IP. I don't know. Let's see if they do. Does PlayStation own the Stellar Blade IP? It says says Shift Up, a Korean studio founded by Kim Wang Tae, first teased the game under the working title Project Eve in 2019. By 2021, it was revealed as a PlayStation 5 exclusive to be published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Okay, so they are the publisher. They probably don't. I don't think they own it. Okay, it says Sony doesn't own the Stellar Blade IP. Shift Up does. Okay, so they did make this deal with them. If they are the publisher, I'm sure that if they want a sequel, and I know they've talked about doing a sequel, they're not really rushing into it. They're trying to figure out what the fans liked and enjoyed and try to see if they can move that over to a sequel if they decide to do one. But I'm hoping that, Shift Up won't be penalized for this because, you can't make someone buy your game. And if you make a great game, I think you should be rewarded with a chance to make a sequel. But again, at the end of the day, this is a business and people are in it to get their money back and a lot more. And especially in the times that we are living in, especially in the gaming industry, I believe that with that type of performance, that it probably will be a question mark, a big question mark on if they will do a part 2. Because in my mind, I was thinking of Stellar Blade to be almost PlayStation's answer to Bayonetta to a certain degree. I thought that would be their answer. And we know that Nintendo has had Bayonetta for a while as an exclusive. So I thought that shugs, man, darn trying to get Bayonetta back. You got Stellar Blade. That can be your go-to if a person wants that kind of game on your platform. So I'm just hoping that things will work out for Shift Up. They will get another crack at it, hopefully, but only time will tell. That $1 million is abysmal. And some people can say it's great for a new IP and all of that stuff. I hear you. But at almost a 60 million doggone fan base, you can't convince me that game shouldn't have sold like 3 or 4 million. That's what I thought it was going to do. But maybe my goals and aspirations for the game were just a little too unrealistic. Obviously they were, but we'll see what happens with this game. But let's go ahead, guys, and let's move into the next story. And golly, we are 38 minutes in. That story was supposed to be quick. Man, my apologies for that. But we're going to get into the next story that I actually got from Alt Char. I've said it before and, I'll say it again. When I first, when I first saw Flight Simulator, I was more upset than anything as a console gamer. These aren't the types of games that, not only myself, but console players, we don't play these kind of games. Flight Simulator, what is that? On a console? Are you kidding? But I will say, since then, I've kind of warmed up to the idea of at least giving the game a try when I get my Series X. And one of the reasons why is they continue to add to the game to give you a better experience. Now, some of these things that they've added include, for the first time, Flight Simulator 2024 will have 3D environments. Now, the developers also said the world will have 30 different biomes, 30 of them. But getting back to the 3D environment, let's talk about that for a minute. Essentially, what that means is full 3D environments will be used instead of ground textures when we are high in the air. Now, that's dope, because I know that one of the things that people always talked about when they were playing Flight Simulator is, hey, I can see my house from here. And I'll be honest with you, I say, that sound like a little bit of cap. Now, if you said it's the area that you live in and all that stuff, I'm like, yeah, cool. I can see that. But it ain't like you're able to zoom in to the street and all of that stuff and literally see individual houses. Nah, it's like, oh, no, but I can see my house. I was like, yeah, the game is beautiful, but God, dog, come on. It ain't that darn amazing. But the thing about these 3D environments, it'll make it so that those ground textures are actually going to pop up and actually, look 3D, which is incredible. Now I would say, okay, maybe now you're able to see your house like you say you are from 10,000 feet in the air and all of that stuff. But that's not the only thing. Like I said, the 30 different biomes and all of that stuff. But like I said, okay, yeah, the 3D environments will be used instead of ground textures. I said that. And this includes procedurally generated vegetation as well in 3D. And it's also going to include nature, possibly being able to be explored, because now we kind of saw that a little bit, didn't we, with the nature, because in the article that I actually got this from, they were talking about being able to explore the ground and different nature and stuff like that. And we saw them take a picture of a deer at the E3 show. I keep saying E3, at Xbox's show during their I'm calling it the E3 show. Shucks. We need E3 right now after that show Jeff Keighley had. Yeah. The doggone E3-esque show that they had. We saw the doggone deer out there and they took a picture of them. So, I mean, it looks like you're going to be able to see the nature in 3D as well. That might mean, man, could you imagine flying over like Africa and actually being able to see like a herd of zebras running over the ground and all of that stuff? I mean, this could be dope as ever. These were the things I was reading, and I'm like, man, that just sounds really, really interesting that they're possibly going to be adding these kind of elements to the game. Vegetation, like I said, in 3D. The other thing that was also said is the developers stated that all the oil platforms that exist in the world, as well as all registered helipads in the world, will be included in the game, as well as dynamic seasons and weather conditions, and a whole range of other authenticity important to a flight simulation. And lastly, the developers are claiming load times will be a bit faster. Now, I guess we'll see how true that is, because the game actually will release on November 19th, 2024. So this is a game that, like I said, once I can afford to get a Series X, because I'm broke. I mean, I am so broke. I've been hanging out though. I've been hanging out, but 500, I got a couple of different things I need to do, before I actually just say, let me just throw this 500 at the Series X. Nah, that's not going to happen. Not right now. But eventually I'll get one. Once I have the money to be able to afford to get one, I'll get one. And this will definitely be one of the first games that I try, because I don't know what it is. I see this game and I'm like, golly, this is so beautiful. man, this is a beautiful looking game. And just hearing about those different missions that they're going to be adding, with the fire rescue or being able to do the farming or something like that, actually watering the crops or something like that. Being able to do the helicopter, transport and things like that. I'm like, man, these all seem really interesting. And for me, being around gaming for, golly, almost 40 years at this point, I've been around gaming. Sometimes you kind of sit back and say, wow, I wonder, is there another type of game that I might be able to get into? Because we're all creatures of habit. Most of us are. I'm not going to speak. I won't speak for any of you guys. I'll speak for me. I'm definitely a creature of habit when it comes to certain things. And my gaming tastes are kind of set right now. And it's kind of hard to break that. But sometimes I do look on the outside to try and find something that could possibly break up, a bit of I'm not going to call it monotony, but just to kind of break up what I normally would play. And it seems like Flight Simulator is kind of, it seems like it may be that kind of game. And granted, when I buy the game, I know I'm going to want the full experience. So I could see myself going out there and buying that Turtle Beach joint, the yoke wheel and all of that stuff, acting like I'm really out there flying a doggone, I don't know what you call it, a commercial, a commercial plane out this mother love. I'm going to be trying to do all I can to get that full simulation. And, it seems like that may be a game that I could really get into. They say it's a peaceful kind of game. It's very calming or whatever. So I'm like, yeah. And plus being able to see the world as a whole. I know it's not the real world. It's based off of real world things that actually do exist, like the pyramids and the Statue of Liberty, things of that nature. Being able to see it virtually, I think it would be really, really dope. So I've made a full 180 when it comes to Flight Simulator as a whole, that I'm actually really, really looking forward to it. Looking forward to, just seeing what the game is fully about, giving it a full chance to see how much I do like it, or if my initial thoughts on the game, which I had, which was console gamers, we don't play this kind of stuff. I would be able to find out. I might be right and end up telling y'all, nah, that wasn't for me. But we will see. I'm definitely willing to give it a chance and willing to fully commit and invest into actually getting the best experience I can possible. But again, these features, they seem really good, and we'll see how they work out in the long run. But guys, let's go ahead and let's get into the next story that I actually got from True Achievement. So in more news, now Forza Horizon 4, now I know y'all heard this, but we're going to go over it. The game will be delisted from the Microsoft Store and removed from Game Pass on December 15th, 2024, due to licensing issues. But, quote, players who already own the game and its content will be able to download and play it as normal, including its offline mode, online, and multiplayer features. Now, physical copies of the game purchased after this date will also work and will be able to use online features. End of quote. Now, however, Playground did say if you played Forza Horizon 4 via Xbox Game Pass and bought any of the DLC packs for it, quote, you will be eligible to receive a game token, end of quote, a game token, end of quote, for Forza 4 if you have an, quote, active, full paid, not discounted, Xbox Game Pass subscription on 6/25 or June 25th at this time when I wrote this down. So, before I get into that though, it is worth noting individual DLC packs, according to the article, will be delisted from digital storefronts, but the standard deluxe and ultimate editions will be available until the cutoff date of December 15th. But there will be a discount price for the game on July 14th in an Xbox store sale. So we haven't got there yet. Another 7 days it'll be until that starts. And if this was something that you guys may have wanted to play and don't want it to go away forever and you not have access to it, you'll actually be able to get it on a discount again on July 14th when the game goes on sale. So I thought this was really dope. I mean, we know that these Forza games, of course, the licensing is crazy. They have the cars for a certain amount of time, the music for a certain amount of time. I'm sure the manufacturers that are possibly inside of the game where you're buying the different car parts from have that for a certain amount of time. So these kind of games, they're just going to go out of, they're just going to get delisted because of, again, licensing issues. So, I mean, this is nothing new. Some people may have been making a big deal of it, but I think that the way that Microsoft is handling it is fantastic. They're saying that, look, as long as you own the game, you'll be able to play it. You'll be able to have all of the multiplayer features. You're not going to miss a beat. You'll be able to play it, as normal, as long as you own it, whether it's physical or if it's digital. You'll have the same access to all of those features. And the one of the more doper parts that I thought needs to be applauded is if you did play the game through Game Pass and you actually got the DLC, you actually spent your money on the DLC, they're going to make sure that they give you the game, Forza 4, for free, pretty much with that token, just showing you that, look, we appreciate your purchase. We know that this is obviously a game that you enjoyed because you invested your money into it by picking up the DLC, and we're not going to take that away from you. So look, so you know that we appreciate what you did. We're just going to give you the game for free via a token. So I think that is fantastic. That's a great way to do business. I'm telling you, man, I think that they kind of, they are definitely, I'm not going to say they're changing, but they're definitely turning over. I'm not going to say they're turning over a new leaf. They've always done these kind of things, Microsoft, so I ain't going to get too hyped up about this, but I just think that's really great of them to do that. And then, if that's not enough, if you want to get the game, but you don't want to pay full price for it, again, July 14th, you'll be able to get it in an Xbox sale. So that's great too. And then if you miss that opportunity, you have until December 15th, which is the window to be able to buy it. And then after that, look, all bets are off. That is it. So they've given us plenty of time. I believe I own this game too. I just haven't played it. It's still in the wrapper. I actually went out and bought a Sparko, driving wheel for this dog for this game. Was it a P3? I think it's a P3 Sparko wheel by Thrustmaster. Went out and bought it, and that thing is still in the box. I have not opened it yet. That thing has got to be about 5 or 6 years old, and it's just sitting there, in the box. Will I open it up? I don't know. I might. Anything is possible. Who knows, though? But anyway, we'll see. We know what's going to happen with this story. After December 15th, all bets are off. Forza Horizon 4, after that will no longer be available. But let's go ahead, guys, and let's get into the next story that I actually got from Pure Xbox. Let's keep sticking with a little bit of, well, this has nothing to do with Xbox, pardon me, but let's just continue on with the gaming news. So it kind of does. It does kind of have something to do with Xbox, because have any of you heard of it was this game that was canceled, for the OG Xbox called Captain Blood. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this, but it was last seen in 2010, but now it has a release date of this fall, and it's coming to Xbox One and the Xbox Series X consoles, as well as PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Steam, and Switch. So yeah, this game was quite a few years old. Matter of fact, I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer or not, but let's listen to it together. Here's the trailer for, again, the game called Captain Blood.
Ta-dam! World premiere. Sort of. England and Spain are at war. There are also pirates who kidnap their lord's daughter who needs rescue. Blah, blah, blah.
1,000 gold coins for her safe return.
50,000.
Don't do it for England. Do it for good. Who knew that rescuing her would release a whole load of trouble? Embark on an epic adventure where you can learn new languages, make friends, play with toy ships. Is this the right script? In a historically accurate cannon-firing, pistol-shooting, bare-knuckle, beat-down pirate game that was lost at sea for years. Captain Blood. Oh, and a villain who drinks green stuff to gain kicking power. Oh. Captain Blood. Captain Blood. Captain Blood. Ah, all right.
Yeah, man. So that's Captain Blood, guys. Yeah, it looks really good. I would definitely recommend you guys check it out, see what you think about it. It kind of has a bit of a different, well, maybe it's not a different kind of feature. I was going to say, because in the game, you're actually fighting pirate ships, but we've seen that already in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, so it's not a different premise. But if Assassin's Creed Black Flag had not done it first, this would have been a little different, because, yeah, this would have been out way before Assassin's Creed Black Flag. If this was premiered back in 2010, well, I don't want to make myself look like too much of a fool. I want to make sure I got that right, because Black Flag, I know Black Flag came out not that long ago. When did Assassin's Creed Black Flag release?
October 29th, 2013. According to Wikipedia,
Okay,
Assassin's
right,
Creed
I
IV.
got you. Okay. So, well, it wasn't that far off. We're talking about 3 years later. Who's to say, hey, listen, man, who's to say that Ubisoft possibly could have got the concept and the idea from Captain Blood? Who's to say? That is very, very close in years when you think about the production and all of that stuff. And this game never released. So it's almost like a situation with, Gears of War and what was it? Something Switch, Kill Switch, where Kill Switch had done the cover system way before Gears of War had ever attempted it or was even out or released. Kill Switch is the originator when it comes to, the cover-based shooter. But since the game didn't take off and not many people knew about it, and Gears of War was straight through the roof, a lot of people, if they don't know, would think that that concept was originally, made, from the Gears of War team, when in fact that's not the case. So it could have been a situation where they could have been looking at Captain Blood and like, dag, that's a nice concept. And, oh, wait a minute, what? It's not releasing? Well, let's see what we can do with that then. Let's see what we can do with that concept. So, I mean, it's interesting. Just getting back on track, though. The game does look good. It looks very promising. I do like the ship aspect of being able to fight different ships and having guns on board. You got a sword, all of that stuff. It looks good. I would definitely recommend checking out the trailer and seeing what you feel about it, you know. But anyway, let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into the next story. So now this one is a very, very interesting one, you know. So well, let's get started with it. So for quite some time now, there has been a group of people who believe that the future of gaming is on your mobile device or phone, as it were. Ah, man. Well, based off of an article that I found from mobilegamer.biz, these numbers may paint a certain picture to have you come up with and give you your own conclusion when it comes to this kind of thing. So when it comes to this, some of you may remember Apple showcased some pretty big AAA games that were coming to iPhone. Now, these included Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 7, Death Stranding, and Assassin's Creed Mirage. So let's get started with Assassin's Creed Mirage. Now, these numbers are based on calculations. These numbers are based on calculations based on App Figure's estimates. Now, the game was downloaded. Now, this is Assassin's Creed Mirage. It was downloaded 123,000 times with a gross revenue of 138,000 to date. So, by the way, the game released on June 6th, so relatively a new release on mobile. But going off of those numbers, under 3,000 people have paid $49.99 to play the game. So again, just going over the numbers, Assassin's Creed Mirage was downloaded 123,000 times. I'm sure that they probably give you a free trial or something like that to try to suck you in. So 123,000 times. It grossed a revenue of $138,000 to date. And based off of that number, it's leading them to believe that the game sold to under 3,000 people that actually paid $50 to play the game. So it looks like on the mobile side, you're talking about those kind of numbers, $50 for a full, $50 for a game like Assassin's Creed Mirage. Nah, they are not buying it. What was that? A little less than 3% of the people, well, not 3%, but that's an abysmal percent. If 123,000 downloaded it and only 3,000 bought it, that's bad. But that's not the only game. Let's move to Resident Evil 4. Now, the game has been downloaded 357,000 times, much better than Assassin's Creed Mirage. So 357,000 times, with revenue estimated to be $208,000. So based on the game's $29.99 price tag, this suggests that around 7,000 people have downloaded and paid to unlock the full game in the 6 months it's been on the market. So yeah, that's even cheaper. $30 to pay, to actually get access to the full game. It's been available for 6 months and only around 7,000 people downloaded the game in all of its full entirety, paying that full price point of $30. That's crazy. Now, Resident Evil Village is up next, which, based on app figures, it's estimated the game has been downloaded 370,000 times and made $92,000 in revenue, meaning the number of players who paid to unlock the full game, which cost $15.99, was around 5,750 people. And to round us out, now before we even get to the last game to get us to the end, 5,750 people paid $16 out of 370,000. That is unsustainable. You want to talk about console gaming being unsustainable? These kind of numbers would bankrupt the company overnight if you are depending on getting those big numbers. It's rough. We're going to go to the final game, though, the one that's going to round us out, which is Death Stranding. Now, the upfront cost for this game is $20 and was estimated around $212,000 in revenue. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm right. It was estimated that around $212,000 in revenue and attracted around 10,600 downloads since it launched on January 29th, 2024. Now, I got to say, I said Stellar Blade was an utter failure because of the million sold, but not just that, but having access to 59.2 million PlayStation 5s. When you say that you made around $212,000 and you attracted around 10,600 downloads since January of this year, and you have access to, we're talking about iPhone here. I'm gonna just Google just to see how many estimated iPhones are in the world. How many iPhone users are in the world? It says, as of January 2024, there were an estimated 1.46 billion active iPhone users worldwide, which is 21.67% of the global smartphone market share. This number has been growing yearly since the iPhone's release in 2007, with previous years' numbers including 60 million and 2,000. Well, we don't need to go into all of that, but I'm saying 1.46 billion users. And you attracted 10,000 people to actually download the game. 10,600 downloads for Death Stranding. What I say? Which one was Resident Evil? Resident Evil Village got downloaded 370,000 times, made 92,000 in revenue, which made it so it's like 5,750 people. Look, all I'm saying, I'm not going to get super long-winded because this whole episode is extremely long-winded. But all I'm saying is, for anybody out there that believes that mobile is the future for full-fledged AAA gaming experiences, look at these numbers. Look at them. These numbers are past abysmal. Like I said, again, Stellar Blade doing 1 million on the PlayStation 5, I thought was the absolute bottom of the bottom. But after looking at these numbers, God darn, with a 1.46 billion active doggone iPhone user doggone community, Nothing on here is even remotely close. Not even, I mean, of course, I'm not expecting 1 billion people to download any darn game, but I'm just saying these numbers being as high as they are, God darn, you struggle to get 10,000 was the most. What was it? 10,600 downloads were the most that was done out of all of these games. Even though one game got 370,000 downloads. Well, that was Resident Evil Village, 370,000. Resident Evil 4 got 357,000 downloads, and Assassin's Creed got 123,000 downloads. Of course, again, those weren't all paid. Those were free. But, you know, when it came down to actually paying the full price, you had less than 3,000 people for Assassin's Creed. You had around 7,000 for Resident Evil 4. And then Resident Evil Village, again, the 10,000. No, that wasn't even 10,000. That was what, 7,000? No, 5,000. God darn, 5,750 people. And then Death Stranding with the 10,600. Yeah, that is absolutely crazy. So for anybody, again, that believes that that's the way to go, that's going to be the thing that saves gaming, no, not even halfway, a quarter, a tenth of the truth. Not at all. Now, some people can say that those are full-length games. People aren't going to be doing that on their phone. That's not what I heard. I heard that people are willing to sit there on a 5-6-inch screen on their phone and use the backbone. The backbone is going to be the future of gaming. Now, nobody said that. I'm capping on that, you know, being a little facetious, but it was so many of those contraptions that were coming out that were going to revolutionize gaming. Gaming is going mobile and all of that. And you got these kind of abysmal numbers. Oh, man, coming out telling us that this is the reality. The reality is not a market for gaming when it comes to the mobile side. It's not. It's just not the kind of games that we like. Not these AAA $70 experience. Man, they struggled to pay, what was it, $16 for one of these games? It was $16 for Resident Evil Village. That was the cheapest game on the list. The other game was $30, $50, $16, and Death Stranding was $20. They struggled. They couldn't even hit 25,000. And they didn't even get remotely close to people paying full price for these kind of games. Yeah, that's with tanker companies. So I'm not trying to hear it when it comes to, you know, mobile saving gaming and all of that stuff. It's not going to happen. When you have a user base of 1.46 billion active users, and you can't even, now I got to say, and you can't even break 1 million. Whoa. It is a major problem with that. So we're going to find out, I know, as the years, the months, the weeks go on. We're going to definitely see what happens with this mobile situation. But again, based on these numbers, ain't a darn thing happening fast when it comes to AAA games being available on the mobile device. It's not moving units like that. It's not popular. People don't want to come up off of the money because it looked like it was at least some interest there. 357,000, you know, people downloading it. And all you were able to get is 10,600. 10,600 people to actually commit. 370,000 people doggone downloaded it, but no, I'm sorry, that 370,000, only 5,750 people picked it up. Oh man, I'm laughing. I'm really laughing because I always felt like I knew this was being forced. I knew this was being fabricated and some more stuff. I said, ain't no way people on doggone mobile phones are trying to play games like this. Don't nobody want this. Nobody's excited about playing a doggone AAA game on a darn phone. It's just not going to work. These backbones and all of that stuff is not going to push the envelope. People are not going to buy this stuff. And we see what the results are. Who knows what's going to happen in the future, but I don't think it gets much better when it comes to these numbers. But pardon me for the long-windedness. We're going to move on to the next story. This next story, I actually got it from Eurogamer. Now, this was an interesting one because I've talked about Black Myth Wukong. I talked about it a few weeks ago. And even though it's not one of my most anticipated games this year, I'm still very excited to see what Game Science is cooking up when it comes to this one. Now, more so, I would say I'm more excited about it now because previously, well, I'll say this. I'm more excited about it than I previously was because we finally got word from a spokesperson at Game Science on the difficulty of the game, where they said, quote, "A lot of people find action games very frustrating due to the difficulty. It's not because they don't know how to play. It's because they can't keep up with the rhythm of the game. So we are trying to ease that problem for the players who want to experience the story and who want to experience the battles by providing them the different kinds of spells and transformations, and also to make the game less punishing to help them enjoy the game." Very awesome to hear. Very. A person like me, I am not trying to play a game for difficulty. I'm playing a game for fun. And I know that a ton of you guys went out there and bought that Dark Souls or Demon Souls, whatever it is. That DLC got people crying right now. Oh, it's so hard. I can't beat the boss. It's too hard. I know you jokers out there hurting right now. Elden Ring got y'all jokers out there on the ropes mad. I don't need that in my life, god dog it. I don't need that frustration. Life in general is frustrating enough depending on the different scenarios and things that you're put in. Paying bills every month is doggone enough. There's enough darn pressure on my shoulders having to deal with paying mortgage every month and doggone car insurance and all this stuff. And you want me to play a game and have that kind of frustration, having to deal with it voluntarily? Y'all are crazy. So shout out to y'all, though. Shout out to y'all that enjoy Elden Ring, that enjoy those kind of games, that when you do beat that boss, man, you feel like, man, you on cloud nine. You have made a real achievement. And I mean that. I don't say that facetiously either, making a real achievement. Because as gamers, you got guys out there that really take achievement hunting and trophies extremely seriously. I'm not one of those guys. That's not my bag. That's not my situation. But you do have guys out there that they pride themselves on these achievements and trophies. And for them, it's a badge of honor. It would be a badge of honor for me as well. I'm in the gaming culture. I know how it works. It's certain games where a person tells you they beat it. You're like, whoa, that's a bad man right there. It comes with a certain amount of respect with it, as far as just the gaming culture. It's like, golly, you beat that? Oh, shucks. This guy's a freaking monster. So I do know that it comes with a lot of respect. It comes with pride as well. So again, I don't say it facetiously, but that ain't for me. That is not my thing. That ain't what I'm jamming to. I ain't rocking to that. So when they came out at doggone Game Science, that representative, and he said that they are trying to pretty much, I don't want to put words in his mouth. Let me see what he say. He say, people that play the game, it becomes very frustrating due to the difficulty. I ain't trying to put you through all of that. A person like myself, I want to get into the story. I'm there for the story. I'm there for, the character development, there for the graphics, the fun. I'm there for the good stuff, for the fun stuff. So it looks like they'll be kind of tailoring the game to actually meet you, where you want to be met. Like if you want to just get through the story, you'll be able to do that. If you want to play the game for, a bit of a challenge, it looks like they'll be able to meet your needs with that as well. But they want to make sure that they're not going to punish the player either, which is great too. So I've also seen some reports on this game where they did say that, it's a beautiful game. That's the first thing I heard. I said, oh yeah. That's right down my alley. I've been watching this game before this generation even started. When I saw Black Myth Wukong, I was like, oh man, my guy, Ducats, my homeboy, y'all don't need to know where he lives, but yeah, Ducats, he had, actually hit me up, man. Shout out to him, man. That's my dog right there. Oh man, my man C Ducats. Oh my goodness, man. That brother makes some of the dopest beats ever, man. Shout out to him. But he had sent me a clip of this, and I was like, what kind of game is this? I'm like, is this real? He was like, they're saying it's real. I can't tell you like for sure if it is, but that's what they're saying. They're saying it's real. So at that time, just being blown away at how great it looks, and then seeing it today and seeing that it looks like it did back then. Yeah, man, graphically, I've been waiting on this game. So you couple that with the difficulty not being Dark Souls or Elden Ring-esque-ish, man, count me in. I can actually play the game for the story and not the difficulty. Yeah, I'm in. So again, for anybody that was expecting for this to be like a Demon Souls or Elden Ring type of experience, it doesn't appear to be that that's what they're going for. Like I said, again, with the people that have had hands-on time with the game, they said this is not, a Demon Souls type of game. It's not that kind of game. So if this is something that you may be interested in, and you're not really into those very hard games, what am I trying to say? Basically, if this game appeals to you, aesthetically, and it's been something you've been looking forward to, but you might have been a little nervous that it was going to be very difficult. Again, it doesn't seem like they're going for that kind of that feel. So yeah, I would say definitely check it out, pick it up, and see what's going on with it. Because again, before I saw this report, again from Eurogamer, I was like, man, that game looks good, but I'm darn sure not picking it up if it's a Demon Souls like Elden Ring. I'm not doing it. So that's just going to be a game I'm going to have to miss out on. So, again, hearing that difficulty isn't going to be that bad, it's definitely something I might pick this one up, actually. I might have to get this. And plus, again, it's based off of the same story that Enslaved actually covered from Ninja Theory, many, many, many years ago. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this one, man. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's get into the next story that I actually got from WCCF Tech. So, man, so we know that the Switch 2 is on the way next year. We possibly may see something in March, somewhere around there. But more than likely, I'm pretty sure, based off of what the original Switch has done, that the Switch 2 will be in very high demand. Now, probably Shugs. So much so, like I brought up earlier, similar to the PS5 scalpers, will probably be a lot of people on the hunt for these to sell them. So Nintendo, when they were asked about something similar to the situation of the PS5, actually in a Q&A session, with some shareholders, the question came up about what the company would put in place to prevent scalping. And Nintendo president Shintaro Furukawa, as reported by VGC, said the main plan is to make sure users don't have to turn to resellers to purchase the console. Thus, it will make sure that enough consoles will be produced to meet customer demand. It's also worth noting that the semiconductor, well, hold on, I kind of ran that together. But yeah, he's saying that there'll be enough consoles that'll be produced to meet customer demand. But the thing that I was saying is it's also worth noting that the semiconductor shortage that had an effect on the production of the Switch is no longer an issue. So yeah, that is a good thing. Now, the article also pointed out that earlier this year, it was estimated from display shipment data that Nintendo should produce over 10 million units in the console's first fiscal year. So it looks like, unlike PlayStation, and at that time, we're talking about COVID-19, we were definitely in the absolute thick of that situation. Them having problems getting the materials that were needed to keep production high, to keep up with demand. None of that was happening when the PlayStation 5 was released and the Xbox Series X, because at one point in time, the Series X actually did sell. It was selling, so I don't want to act like it wasn't moving units at all. It was a time where I believe it sold out once, and Phil Spencer even came out and said, and again, I'm always very cautious when it comes to Phil Spencer with what he says, because it's just too many instances that show that just because he says something, it doesn't always mean that it's true. Like him saying at the show, we're selling more consoles than we ever have. And I'm like, yo, Phil, I don't know about that, my brother. I mean, the record has shown thus far that you are actually trailing behind the Xbox One sales as they were at this point in the generation, for the Xbox One, like the fourth, going into the fourth year. You're trailing behind that, which was a terrible generation for Xbox. So when you hear things like that from Phil Spencer, you do become a little like, I don't know if I can trust him. But what I was going to say is Phil Spencer had said on one of those shows that they were going to get the production back up and, have more of the consoles be produced, and, they're trying to keep up with demand and things of that nature. Now, this was a couple of years ago, but I'm just saying that to say that they were selling well. I don't know. They were selling. at one point in time. And again, I believe they sold out. So it looks like, again, just getting back to the Nintendo aspect of this, looks like Nintendo is not trying to have that be the case. They want to make sure that they're able to get more than enough out there to fulfill customer demand. And again, if that 10 million units being shipped in the console's first fiscal year, that will definitely be more than enough, I would think, for the console to actually get around to all of the people that want to buy it. So this is really, really good. Nintendo does a lot of things that I don't like, particularly, mainly them just not keeping up with the times when it comes to graphics, comes to technology, pushing. I mean, I can't say that they haven't pushed gaming forward. My goodness, the analog sticks wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Nintendo. Shucks, the name of this podcast wouldn't exist without Nintendo actually, inventing the analog sticks, the rumble technology, all of that stuff, inside of the controller. So I'm not going to say that they have not pushed gaming forward, because that would just be a complete lie. Them also, pushing for the motion sensor aspect of gaming as well. Yeah, they've done a lot of things to push gaming forward. It's just when it comes to the graphics and things of that nature, I would just like for them to do better. But all of that to the side, Nintendo does seem to do things that are good. Like I know at one point in time, I don't know if it's like that anymore, but they would only release their games on Friday. And they used to do it like that because they wanted to make sure that nobody was going to be missing school or up late, playing the game and possibly missing school the next day. And again, that's for the parent to govern and make sure that the kid is doing what they're supposed to do. But, when you're actually selling, or your demographic, are the children, then I do think even, to a certain degree, that it is dope that they would do that, to try to make sure that they're doing their part to not interrupt, the kid into making maybe a bad decision of staying up late or missing school. I mean, again, it's not their responsibility, it's the parents, but I thought it was a nice touch, so with them actually talking about this and wanting this to be the case where nobody has to go to scalpers and have to pay double the price, triple the price to get the console, I think this is a fantastic thing. So hopefully it will happen. Hopefully it'll come to fruition and there will be no shortage problems or anything like that, when it comes to the Switch 2. But, only time will tell, and we'll find out sometime next year. I'm definitely excited about this console. I can't wait to see what the gimmick is with this one. And again, when I say gimmick, when it comes to Nintendo, I don't say it in a negative way. I mean it in the most positive way. I mean, Nintendo always has something up their sleeve to attract you to, the consoles or the handhelds that they do, so I'm just waiting to see what that thing is going to be with the Switch, to see if they can do it again, to see if they can catch lightning in a bottle, for the upteenth time, at this point, so we'll see what happens though, man. But let's go ahead, guys, and let's get into the next story. I told y'all we was going to be here for a while, man. I said possibly 2 hours, man. We had 1 hour and 33 minutes right now. But let's go ahead and let's get into the next story that I actually got from PSLS. So it appears that Returnal development team House Marque is working on a AAA action game featuring boss fights. Now, to be fair, House Marque hasn't officially come out to talk about this upcoming title, but this info is based on an ad where the studio is looking for a senior game designer. And in the ad, they go over what is required for the position, which says, quote, at House Marque, you will be responsible for designing, prototyping, and implementing enemies for a AAA action game from inception to the finished. Fully fledged opponents for the player to overcome. End of quote. Now, the job will also require, quote, passion for enemy and boss design. End of quote. And the goal is to ensure, quote, combat encounters are as exciting, innovative, and creative as possible. End of quote. Also, if you're guessing that this game is Returnal 2, I would definitely pump the brakes on that idea, because House Marque already came out and said that their next game would not be Returnal 2. So if you weren't a fan of Returnal and you were like, oh, shucks, House Marque is about to do a sequel to that game. No, not at all. This game is going to be, again, based on the information, because we got to make sure that, you know, to put that out there. Again, House Marque has not made any official announcement about this. This is completely, again, based off of different job descriptions of people that they need, you know, their need for them, you know, to get a senior game designer. So I just wanted to put that out there, because sometimes things can happen when a game is in production. Sometimes things may take a left-hand turn. They may go right, you know, but, you know, things can change. But as it stands right now, again, based off of the job description, you know, of the candidate that they're looking for, it looks like this game is going to be a AAA action game, and it's going to feature boss fights. So that sounds extremely interesting. House Marque, as far as I know, they have a solid track record. There were many people that enjoyed Returnal, that thought it was fantastic. And even the game before this, I forgot the name of the game that they made, but that also was a pretty good game as well. Like I said, it seems like they have a solid track record. I'm not very familiar with a lot of their work, though, to be fair. I'm not very familiar. But again, we'll see what happens with this in the near future. This is great. Let's go ahead, guys, though, and let's get into the next story, which I actually got from Insider Gaming. Now, the next Halo title continues to get promising news. Now, first we got the news that 343 is shifting from the Slip Space engine to Unreal Engine 5, which was fantastic to hear, to now acquiring a new lead designer named Dan. I don't know how to pronounce this brother's last name. Gennady. Spelled Gniady. Gennady. I don't know, man. I don't mean any disrespect, Mr. Dan. Pardon me, my brother. I'm just having a hard time with your name. But he is the new lead designer to work on the next Halo title. Now, on his LinkedIn page, Dan said this. He said, quote, after speaking with a ton of cool teams about rad projects, I'm getting a shot to work with the chief and friends. I love Halo and am very excited to be a part of adding to its legacy. End of quote. Now, one of the most interesting things about Dan is he was also a designer at Bungie for 10 years, where he worked on both Destiny games and the expansions for those titles. So this guy has a really good track record. By the way, shout out to Destiny, man. Golly. They made the 10-year mark. They actually made the 10-year mark. I remember them saying that they had that plan. I said, man, I don't think they're going to make it to 5 years. The way that game first came out, golly. And me, I'm not a Destiny player. Not at all. I have no real interest. I got a slight interest, I will say. Maybe a small interest in the game. Will I pick it up? Probably not. But I definitely have a bit of I kind of want to play it just a little bit, because it's Bungie, man. I mean, golly, that gameplay has always been smooth when it's come to Halo, things of that nature. Maybe a tinge, but I probably won't pick it up. But just the fact that this guy Dan actually worked at Bungie for those 10 years. And actually worked on the Destiny games and the expansions. Man, this guy has some good, if not great experience. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what he's going to bring to the table when it comes to this next Halo game. What direction is he going to take it in? Is he going to take it back to the roots, or, what angle is he going to pull from it? Is he going to include the flood or, something like that? I'm just curious to know what he's going to do, when it comes to the game. But it continues to get better and better over there at 343. At this point in time, these two changes, adding Dan to the team and having the team switching from the Slipspace engine to Unreal Engine 5, getting this new lead designer. This is fantastic news. I'm yawning, by the way. If y'all hear my voice crack, I'm trying to mask it the best way I can. I can't mask it though, man. I'm tired. It is 12:14 a.m. So it is officially Monday morning, and I'm still recording this stuff. Which is fine, but I'd be lying to y'all if y'all might not hear me yawn a couple times. Yeah, man, I'm very excited to see what happens with this. This gets me way, way more excited about what the next Halo is going to be. Woo! I haven't been excited for Master Chief in a while, but just looking at the energy that is around Xbox right now, seeing Gears of War, that mad world, just those small undertones of that song. Oh, man. It just seems like they are on such a great trajectory right now. Such a great trajectory over there at Xbox. And I just feel like it's going to be a resurgence of these iconic Xbox characters. And I just feel it in my heart. I feel it in my heart and soul that they are going to do Halo right this next time out the gate. I just got this feeling that they are going to redeem. He's gonna be delivered, doggone Master Chief, on this next one. For people like myself that don't really have the interest in Master Chief anymore, or haven't for many years, I'm going to go on record and say that this next Halo is going to be the resurgence of Master Chief. I really, really feel that way, but only time will tell. We will see in the near future. And the beautiful thing about how Xbox is moving right now is they have that what do you call it? They have that luxury of actually being able to put Chief on the back burner for years and he not be missed. And what I mean by not being missed is you're like, dag, man, it's nothing out here. Where's Master Chief? Where is he? Because he's been carrying the Xbox doggone Man, he's been carrying that console for years. Him, doggone Gears, Halo, and Forza. We already know those jokers have been worked and worked and worked. I mean, you talk about the workhorses. So it's nice to finally have a situation where you can put those guys, you can put those three down and not have to pick them up for years. I mean, we just saw it with Gears. Gears of War, we haven't seen anything from them since 2019? Somewhere around there. I mean, Hivebusters did release, which also restored some faith in the Gears brand for me as well. Now, I didn't have a problem with Gears 5. I thought Gears 5 was a good game. But I'm going to tell you, when I played, God, dog, that DLC, man, shucks. It was just a totally different feel. Man, you get into that mech and start firing. Doom, 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 doom. Oh, man, that game, God, dog, Hivebusters, man, shout out to Hivebusters. God darn. That game was hard. Doggone, that game was good, man. Good grief. So just being on that trajectory of, just seeing where Hivebusters left off, and then you got Gears going back in time. I'm just feeling so good. Seeing all of the different games, Perfect Dark and all that. Oh, man. Yeah, these jokers, I just got a good feeling, about what they got going on. And then, just getting this news about Master Chief, it really, really gets me excited for the future of the Halo franchise. And again, I'm going on record and saying this is going to be Master Chief's. This is going to be his comeback. Whenever that game comes out, that's going to be his comeback season. People are going to be checking for Chief when that next Halo releases. I just got that feeling about it. But we're going to go ahead, guys. Now, I really am getting real long in the tooth. I feel like I'm kind of, I'm wasting too much time. But let's go ahead. I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit now because I'm trying to get y'all. I ain't trying to go past 2 hours. That just seems like way too much. But let's get into this next article that I got from Comic Book. So if you're a Friday the 13th fan, according to a new rumor, 2 Friday the 13th games are in development. So according to Stealth on Twitter, one of these will be a new multiplayer game while, quote, the other features more linear gameplay, end of quote, suggesting that the game could be a single player experience. But as always, until we get official word from the developers, always take these rumors with a mustard seed of truth. But to add to the possibility of this story being true, it was an interview that was conducted by Rely on Horror last year, where they sat down and talked to Friday the 13th composer Harry Manfredi, where he revealed his involvement with the new game based on the franchise. Now, the composer also suggested that the game he's working on would not replicate the asymmetric style that was seen in Friday the 13th, the game. So it looks like, and again, I'm trying to speed up a little bit here, so I'm not going to be too long-winded with this. But again, it seems like 2 games are coming out, 1 multiplayer, 1 possibly a single-player game. And to me, I've always thought that with a Jason game, the best way to come out with that horror element, especially if you are going single player, I feel like you gotta almost do it in the same vein as a Until Dawn to really give you those tense moments, that the Jason films are known for. Hiding under one of the cots, inside of the cabin, just trying to hide from Jason, or hiding in a closet, or, just trying to get away from him, just to feel that tensity, that intense, type of energy that Jason brings to the table when these guys are in front of him. He's towering. He's huge. He's like super strong. This Joker moving around with all that kind of stuff. You can't pinpoint where he's at. There's a lot of horror going on with this dude. So I feel like in a game, from a game perspective, if you're trying to embody all of that, you gotta do it in the form, again, of a Until Dawn, where you can feel those kind of beats. You can feel the intensity of the actual scene. I just don't think you get that with the third person game where you're just running away and, you're hiding. I just don't think you get it, because you need those camera angles. You need those scenes that are purposely tense, to happen, where you may not do it as a player if you're in full control of the camera. But if you have a situation where it's, like a QTE, one of those type of games, again, Detroit Become Human, or Until Dawn, I just feel like you can capture what Jason is all about much better from a game, from that perspective. But we'll see what they do with this. Let's go ahead, guys, though, and let's get into the next story that I actually got from T3. And these are some rumors.
Rumor has it it's something that only I know.
So it appears that both Microsoft and Nvidia are allegedly working together to bring GeForce Now cloud gaming to the Xbox platform, based on a leaker whose name is at Xtaz First V. It's spelled EXT. Well, it's E capital X TAS, the number 1 STV. Where he posted some pics on his X feed that show Street Fighter 6 and Call of Duty Warzone being available on Xbox in Japan, with the quote, "play it with GeForce Now," end of quote, as part of their respective store listing. So if this is true, this could bring a whole new dynamic to the console, because Nvidia's GeForce Now gives you access to PC games you already own on other digital game stores like Epic and Steam, essentially giving you the option of playing games that aren't available natively on the console. How crazy would that be? Being able to play games that are PC based, that have never touched down onto the console, but because you have GeForce Now and you possibly bought it on a Steam store, you're able to play it on your Xbox Series X or your Xbox Series S. That is a whole different dynamic right there. But it's just interesting, because being able to have the ability to do that and those games never natively being on the console, that would be crazy. But to me, one of the bigger things that the GeForce model could bring to the table that could be a complete showstopper is if, now this is the thing, if you subscribe to GeForce Ultimate for $19.99 a month, you can play the games in up to 4K HDR with RTX 4080 graphics. That would essentially turn your Xbox into a high-end PC. Now, as always, we have to wait for an official word about this being true. So this story, like I always say, take it with a mustard seed. And I do mean a mustard seed of truth. But could you imagine if they pulled this off? $20 a month. And granted, I ain't gonna lie, all of these subscriptions are gonna add up after a while. God darn, you got Game Pass, GeForce Now. Some people are paying for doggone Netflix, and God darn, stuff is gonna get crazy expensive. But again, if this is true, you're paying $20 a month. You're going to be able to get access if it works out that way. Of course, we got to see, even if it is true, how is it going to work? Will you be able to access your PC games on your console? We got to wait for all of those details. But just going off of, the way it sounds, you'll be able to access the PC games on your console. And then on top of that, having it be the equivalent graphic wise of a RTX 4080. God darn. Hold on, man. This may be a small look into possibly what is going to happen with this, quote, next generation hardware that they're working on. Of course, Sarah Bond already came out and said that it's going to be a big technical leap and all of this stuff. We don't know for sure what it's going to be, but could it be a situation where this GeForce Now situation makes it where this next console, based off of an app or however they're going to sell it and market it, you could actually have a 5080, essentially the equivalent of a 5080 inside of the next Xbox, because they're going to use this app in a way that is going to make it so these games actually appear, to have those 5080 type graphics. There's a lot of different ways this could go. Again, I just want to stress the fact that we don't know. This is rumors. So, again, take it with a mustard seed of truth. But if it turns out to be true, that would be extremely, extremely interesting. Now, of course, I can't be a hypocrite here. Y'all know me. The difference between console and PC, it's not that big to me, especially when it comes to the money aspect. Yes, of course it's a difference. Yes, it's a difference. Is it that big of a difference to pay $1,700 for a graphics card? And then you still got to worry about your RAM and, your motherboard and all of that stuff versus paying $500 for a console and getting those results. Is the $1,700+ worth that much of a difference? Absolutely not. But if you're telling me that you can get something that is the equivalent of a 4080 or a 5080, if that possibly happens in the next generation, you can get those kind of graphical specs on a console that costs $500 or $600. That's what you can get. That's the results you can possibly have access to. I would say that is a steal of a deal. If that is what can happen. Yes, it is absolutely worth cheering for, getting up out of your seat and saying, thank you, Xbox, for doing this for me. But again, can't get too hype. Gotta wait to see what happens with this. But let's move on to the next story, man. Well, I ain't going to even get y'all out of here in 2 hours. I was hoping. But this next story, I got it from Comic Book. So it's one thing that we do know for sure about PlayStation. They will be attending the Tokyo Game Show, which that's an excellent sign. That's excellent news. And if you weren't aware, that show starts from September 26th until the 29th. But one thing that we haven't seen, well, not even seen, but one thing that we haven't been sure of when it comes to PlayStation has been when we will see Death Stranding 2 again. Well, it does look like it won't be long because Kojima shared a promotional image of the upcoming Tokyo Game Show and soon after confirmed that he and his team will be there. Now, this, to be fair, doesn't mean Death Stranding 2 is guaranteed to be there. But as far as I know, Death Stranding 2 is the only Wait a minute. No, Death Stranding 2 isn't the only game that Kojima is working on. No, heck no. Kojima has a game coming out for Xbox. Oh, shucks. Hold on. Whoa. What's the name of the game Kojima is working on for Xbox?
OD. According to The Verge, it wouldn't be a Game Awards without Hideo Kojima. This time, however, the director wasn't on hand to show off Death Stranding 2. Instead, he revealed a new Xbox game called OD.
Man, oh shucks. Golly. Oh, that's just, oh man. Could it be a situation? Because I think a lot of us forget about OD. I was just about to say Death Stranding is the only game Kojima is working on, so it makes sense that he would be at Tokyo Game Show and he would be showing off Death Stranding too. Because that's all he got in the tank right now. Man, I completely forgot about OD. God darn. Whatchamacallit is working with him on that. Shucks. I forgot his name. The brother that made Get Out and the other movies, Us, and some, man, y'all know who I'm talking about. Peele. Keenan was Peele. I can't remember. Y'all know who I'm talking, man. Anyway, shoot. Look, we had two doggone hours. I got to move this along, but that would be dope if he shows off Death Stranding 2 and OD. God darn, at the Tokyo Game Show. Oh, that'd be dope, man. I mean, this thing is 3 days long. It's what, from September 26th until the 29th. You got 3 days, Kojima. Spend a day doing Death Stranding 2 and then spend a day talking about OD. That would be dope. Now, I know that OD may be a bit of a stretch, only because word did come out that Xbox is not going to be there. So a lot of people were making a big deal out of, oh man, they're not going to be there. What do you mean? They're not fighting for our dollars. I'm like, man, y'all need to chill. That's some bull. That's some bull crap right there. Xbox has been out here repping for a while now. And doggone PlayStation ain't been doing nothing. Not on that same level. And I ain't switching sides either. I ain't switching. I'm not going to start downplaying PlayStation, because I don't understand where people get this frustration for PlayStation. Like, they're not releasing games. I'm like, what are you talking about? Final Fantasy VII doggone Rebirth came out this year. Stellar Blade. And I know the numbers. I know the numbers ain't that great, but that was a brand new game that came out this year. You got Astrobot coming out this year. You had, what was the other game? The Japanese game that came out? Doggone shoot. I can't think of the name of it, but that came out. These games are exclusive to the PlayStation brand. So I don't understand why people do act like PlayStation has been just sleep behind the wheel. You're crazy. These jokers have been bringing out games all year long. Forget all year. They've been bringing out games all generation long. But yet people want to say, oh man, gaming is just not exciting right now. PlayStation, they're not doing anything. I'm saying to myself, what are you playing? What are your gaming habits? Because there are a plethora of different games to play. So I'm not going to go out there and, act like PlayStation hasn't been delivering. Now on their shows, all right, I can't say too much loudly when it comes to that. I hear you. People want a roadmap. People want to know what's coming up, what's coming out. What games are in production, first party wise. What is Naughty Dog working on? Is Ghost of Tsushima 2 coming out soon? By the way, I think it was some kind of leak that showed a Ghost of Tsushima 2 statue or something like that, talking about it was releasing for PlayStation 6 or something like that, the new Ghost of Tsushima, which that would be a travesty. I would hope they would have it available on the PlayStation 5, but We'll see. But nah, I'm not gonna go out there and act like PlayStation hasn't been doing a job. But I don't think people should go out there and act like Xbox hasn't been on their square just because they're not gonna be at Tokyo Game Show either. I mean, darn, we gotta remember last year they showed the heck up at the Game Awards. The Game Awards in 2023, where we got Blade, OD was shown off at that show. Shugs, y'all smoking crack. If you think that Xbox has been asleep behind a wheel or that they're not committed and all of that stuff, then they show up in January with their show. That was that was a darn good show. We saw Indiana Jones. Man, come on, man. And then they show up for E3 this year with the best show that they have ever had. Period. They've never had a better show. Never. They completely knocked, I'm not going to say everybody because, there's always some haters out there, but they knocked off a lot of people's socks with that show, and mine included 9.5. Incredible show. They're also going to be at the show that happens in Germany. Golly. In Cologne, Germany. I can't think of the name of the shoot. Hold on. Golly. Hold on. What's the name of the game show in Cologne, Germany?
Gamescom. According to Wikipedia.
Gamescom. They're going to be there. So what they're going to miss, doggone Tokyo Game Show? Let them miss that, mother lover. They've been working. They've been working hard. Shout out to Xbox for doing what they do, man. Really. They've been really out there working. I mean, they're really showing signs of fighting. Of course, we don't know what the future of the console is going to be as a whole. But you can't deny that they have been out there fighting their hardest over the last going on 2 years. Because I'm taking it, okay, they're not going to be at Tokyo Game Show, but I'm almost feeling like they're going to be at the VGAs. They're going to be at the Game Awards. Who knows what we're going to see? And just on a side note, this Gamescom show, I mean, of course, you can hear things, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be true, but I'm hearing that they're gearing up for a pretty solid show at Gamescom as well. So it's like, man, chill, get off of their back, let them work, let them do what they're doing. And if they want to sit a quarter out, let them sit out. And we'll see what they have coming up possibly in December. But PlayStation, yeah, they definitely need to show up at Tokyo Game Show. We still have not got a full-fledged show from them. Again, like I said, I'm not going to make excuses. We don't know what their roadmap is. It's some questions that definitely need to be answered. So I don't think this is going to be like necessarily their E3-esque show. I don't think that, well, I don't know. Now, see, that can be a bit of a conflicting conversation because they said that the show is going to be in September. That was the rumor and is still the rumor that their big show is happening in September. And yet they're going to be at Tokyo Game Show, which is in September. So are they going to have the show earlier that month and then show up to the Tokyo Game Show? I don't know. It's a bit of a conflict there. Who knows what's going to happen with that? So either way, they need to be there. I mean, not even because they don't have games out. They got plenty of games to play. They've been feeding their fan base. VR games on the market, even though the VR is pretty much it's a non-conversation, pretty much, but they have still been supporting it, with games. So, yeah, I mean, they just need to show up and definitely show people what they got coming up real soon. And I'm sure we'll see that, possibly Death Stranding 2 being there, as well as maybe some other games that they're working on too. But Kojima, listen, man, Xbox isn't going to be there. That ain't got to stop you from showing off OD. We all want to know what that game is about. So it'd be dope if Death Stranding is there and OD is there too. So we'll see, man. But listen, it is over 2 hours long here. I think this is the final story. Yes, it is. So this story right here, I actually got it from Sports Illustrated. So, and we're talking about Xbox again. So since the ABK deal closed, one question I think all of us have continuously asked is, well, some of us, not all, but we've been wondering, some have been wondering, when are the back catalog games, from Activision, when are they actually going to be coming to Game Pass? And, according to Jay Wood over on Twitter or X, it doesn't appear that it's going to be much longer, because he said, quote, Xbox will allegedly drip feed ABK games into Game Pass, starting with Crash Insane Trilogy this August, Spiral Reignited, and Tony Hawk 1 and 2 are expected very soon. To think, Spyro, Crash, Banjo, and even Psychonauts will all be available for Game Pass subs. End of quote. So it seems like August will be the jump off month where the back catalog of Activision games will start hitting Game Pass. Man, this could be an event within itself. Thinking about how they could advertise, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 coming to Xbox Game Pass online, capable or available. Modern Warfare 3, the original Call of Duty, well, not the original, but Call of Duty 2, which was released on the 360. I actually had that game. That game made me a fan of Call of Duty for a couple of years. That game was amazing when I first played it. But I'm just thinking, they put that into the service. I mean, they could have just an amazing run when it comes to just advertising just these older Call of Duty games becoming available on Game Pass, and not just being available, but also being available to play online. I think that is the most important element, not necessarily for me because I'm not online like that, but to most Call of Duty players, that will be the allure of actually going back to it, where you can go back to some of those maps that you may have, not played in a decade, and it's available for you to play with your friends. Oh man, nostalgia. Good grief. It would be crazy. Now, how long would it last? Would it last a week? Would it last a month? Would it last a year? I'm talking about the enjoyment of people actually playing these Call of Duty games and actually going online and starting up a match, getting your friends together. How long would it last? I mean, it's impossible to know, but it could do nothing but help the Xbox brand to push it continuously in a more positive light by having those kind of drops on top of different games from Activision, like the Tony Hawk franchise, like Spyro the Dragon. Oh man, that remake is incredible. If you haven't played it, God, dog, fantastic. That on top of Crash Bandicoot, Singularity being another game that they had. I mean, this could really be an incredible event that they could make it an event with these games releasing. I'm just hoping that, they give it a show. They give us a show when it comes to the releases of these classic games that are beloved by tens of millions of people. What was it? Cold War, I think, was one as well. World at War. I'm thinking of World at War. World at War. That was another one as well. I mean, they just have so many of these things, the Call of Duties and other games surrounding it. Imagine, oh man, I just thought of this. Imagine if they released the Transformers game. Golly. They released that, and not just release it, but put some work onto it, give it a little fresh touch of paint or something like that. Man, good grief. I'm hoping that those games actually make a comeback in general, the Transformer games. But anyway, this thing could be huge. This could be amazing. I think the gaming community would absolutely rally behind this, be very excited, because, as long as you can get that engagement up, get that, get the fans juices, juicing, man, get us excited for it and, make it an exciting event. I think it would do nothing but continue to add to the positivity of the Xbox brand that they've already done, thus far with the different moves that they've made, especially after that last show that they had. God, dog, just continue to do that. Like I said, the rest of this generation, just continue to build up that goodwill with your fan base and with people that aren't fans of yours. Continue to build up that goodwill. And you do that through games, through having fantastic gaming experiences. As long as you continue to do that, you will win back some people. You will gain some people as well. But they have so many of the tools to be able to do that. And I'm very excited just to see what these guys are going to be able to do when it comes to these games, these Activision games releasing inside of Game Pass, starting allegedly, because we got to say allegedly, because Xbox and none of their representatives have come out and officially said this. But again, according to this leaker, I want to give him his credit. Again, his name is, let me see if I can find his name. I know I have it. Jay Wood. He's available on Twitter. According to him, this is going to happen in August. It's going to be a drip feed. And, eventually, I'm sure we'll get a ton of those jokers, before it's over, when it comes to the Activision back catalog of games. But anyway, guys, that is the end. Hot dog of the gaming news this week. We have not done a podcast this long, and I can't remember when. I don't know if I've ever done over a 2-hour podcast. I can't recall that. God darn it. But I wanted to spend time with y'all, man. I was trying to make up for the time that I was off, man. I always feel, I'm not going to say I kind of do feel bad. I was going to say I don't really feel bad, but nah, I actually do. I actually do feel kind of bad. I'm not recording because, again, you guys could be in a billion different other podcasts, man. But y'all choose to come here and rock out with me, and I greatly appreciate that, man. Salute to y'all for that, man. Greatly appreciate it. So yeah, I just wanted to make up the time and just move a little bit at a slower pace, for a change, just to kick it with y'all, man. It means so much to me that y'all come out and listen to the show and always show support. But what I want to do is it's not going to be any video game theater because, God dog, I'm already way past on borrowed time right now. But I just wanted to ask you guys the question of the week. And like I say, I know you guys already saw it, when you first clicked on the episode. And again, shout out to you for doing that. But let's go over it officially. So the question that I wanted to ask you guys this week is, should Xbox make more acquisitions? And I've been hearing, a little bit of talk here and there about Xbox possibly doing this again. After ABK cleared, there have been people that said, and they're not done. They're going to continue to get some more. They're going to get some more, guys. Just be ready for it when it happens. And then you start hearing the names pop up. Should they get Capcom? Should they get Square Enix? Should they buy Ubisoft? Should they buy EA? Should they go out there and make an offer to Take-Two? And I'm like, God, dog, man, oh man, it's like for some reason, it's just never enough for some of these guys. They just closed the biggest deal in gaming history. And people are like, yeah, that was dope while it was happening, but I'm ready to move on. You got to get another one. And I'm like, God darn. I personally don't think they need another acquisition up under their belt. I think when I hear that, they got to get some more. I think to myself, man, I don't think so. I mean, they got two of the biggest publishers ever in gaming. They have doggone Activision, doggone Pitfall, Activision from back in the day, Pitfall on the Atari 2600. They have those guys that have been around forever. And then they have doggone Bethesda. He got Bethesda Studios. I know that's not the name of the actual publisher that they picked up. It's slipping my mind, but y'all know it's the Bethesda guys, Todd Howard, all of them jokers. They own them as well, on top of their own studios, their own Xbox studios. I say to myself, and I would say to anybody else, that if they are saying they need to buy anybody else, I would say no. They have more than enough. PlayStation and Nintendo are doing just fine with far less. And Xbox, God dog, they have a ton of talent on their team. They don't need any more. I don't think so. I mean, of course, who knows if they will eventually pick up some others, but I just don't think it's necessary. I mean, we already saw when ABK did come on how many mass layoffs there were when they acquired those guys. I just don't think that people don't need that, man. People don't need it. Not just the people, but I don't think it's necessary. But I would like to hear from, heck no, they got so many darn teams, man. They're already saying, that the word is they are having a hard time with these shows placing the games in there because they just don't have enough room. They don't have enough room and they don't have enough time to go over what they already have. So let them stick with what they have. Let that work and, pick it up from there. But I want to hear from you. Again, should Xbox make more acquisitions? I would absolutely love to get your opinion. And if you do want to give your opinion, you can do it two different ways. You can either call in at 443-380-0281 and let your voice be heard, or you can email the show. And the email address is the analogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell. And again, thank you guys so much for being here. I don't think I'm ever doing this again, man. I have never done a solo podcast for this long. This is something, man. This might be one for the books. I might look around and see if I've done it, but as far as my recollection goes, doing one this long on my own, this is the first. So anyway, we will, I don't know if we're going to do listener feedback this week. I don't know. It depends on you guys. Now this time it is going to depend on my schedule because I don't want it to get too backed up. So we may be doing it. It may not be Wednesday though, because I got to leave out for work a little later than I usually do. So it may end up being possibly around like Thursday, when we do the feedback. Yeah, be on the lookout for that. We'll get back on track, this week and moving forward with the show. We won't be having any more 2+ hour shows. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled program next week, and moving forward. But anyway, again, thank you guys for being here and, all of that good stuff. But before we officially wrap it up and put a bow on it, always remember one thing. It is not about the consoles. It is about the games. So possibly on Wednesday, when we do it again, until then, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.